Honor and remember how this basically started was on the 29th of December. This happened here, 2005, when a young man named Tony Lutz was killed by a sniper outside of Fallujah. His dad, George, some of you I think have met. George always, I don't know, wants to call us his favorite son sometimes here in Indiana. He's out of Chesapeake, out of Virginia, right on the Atlantic Ocean. And he, as part of his grief, traveled up and down the East Coast, meeting a lot of families of the fallen at that time, primarily of Iraq, letting them know that they weren't alone in their grief, that there were others. As you notice, these families of the fallen here don't have it on their forehead. Okay, so it's our responsibility as a nation is to know who they are, not for them to know us. Okay, so when George's grief turned to numbness and finally acceptance, he found in talking to a lot of families of the fallen two things: their son or daughter did not die in vain, and that they would not be forgotten. So on Memorial Day of 2008, actually in Chesapeake or Virginia Beach area, the Honor and Remember flag was launched. It was actually launched as a national symbol of remembrance. That symbol stands for those of any conflict, starting from our American Revolution to current day. Those that either died directly in active duty or as a result of that service. So we honor those that died from Agent Orange from Vietnam, from the current those that have ravaged our military right now. They're taking their own lives. So that's basically the spread of what we do. Our goal is to become a national symbol for our military fallen. Currently, 26 states have adopted this flag for their military fallen. Indiana was the 15th back in March 2013. It's been a slow process. There are currently a national bill in the House of Representatives and one in Senate, which our goal was that by the end of this year to have that come again, but it's a tough feed in the National Congress right now, so we'll just leave it at that. But however we can, this symbol is, which we'll show here in a minute, allows, to me, it's not only a remembrance, it's a legacy gift to the family. And when you talk about Indiana, there are 40,000 Hoosiers given their lives since the Civil War. There was 12,000 from World War II on, and 1,534 from Vietnam. Those are just killed in action. Those are not died from other services. Well, some of you have seen the flag. I got that right. But all these colors and symbols actually mean something. The red, the American flag red, stands for our brave men and women throughout our military history. The white underneath is that purity, that sacrifice. The blue star, which originated in World War I, for active service in a conflict. You know, folks, and that's still today, you'll hear the blue star. They put it on a flag, it exists and goes on the window. If that flag was overlaid with a gold star, that fallen hero was not returning home. Gold reflects the value of the life given. The folded American flag underneath is presented to the family at the memorial service. Always be kept in the shadow box, as it is more attributed to the death. And then you have the eternal flame, which is for the spirit that has departed this life, yet burns all in the memory of all who knew and loved our fallen hero. We will always honor their selfless sacrifice and remember them individually by name. This honor and remember flag is presented with eternal gratitude and respect in memory of Captain Thomas R. Sprouse. With this flag, we honor this patriot's unwavering dedication and remember their selfless sacrifice. By displaying this symbol collectively as a nation, we humbly recognize the enormity of your loss and respect it. Thank you. Signed by our founder, Mr. George Lutz, dated. This flag, which is a personalized flag, is only folded this way one time. It only mirrors the American flag at one time. The American flag, as I already mentioned, was presented to the family at the memorial service. This flag, the Honor and Remember flag, is more a celebration of the life lived and to keep that name alive. If you would, could we all rise, please, and acknowledge this?
I would like to share a
Sure.
little bit.
Please sit down.
When I was about 4 years old, this man, my big brother, he would come and get me out of bed every morning and carry me down the stairs for breakfast. It was a ritual with us, and he's been my hero since I was about, old enough to know him. And when he left to go to Vietnam, he wrote to me the whole time, anytime he could. I got several letters from him. I wish I would have kept some of them. But it was very emotional while he was gone. We thought at one time his plane had actually been shot out of the air. In the Chicago paper, there was an article and a picture, and it said in there that Thomas R. Sprouse had been shot down and didn't make it. And of course, we had not gotten any information or anything that actually happened. Well, what had happened was his plane was a wingman for this plane that was flown by, I think it was Bill Angus. His plane was shot down, and it was him that had passed away. It was not Tom. Tom's plane was shot up, and he landed up back on the aircraft carrier, and several of the maintenance people come running out, and they were, how in the hell did you get that plane landed? When his funeral, we had his funeral, and he was buried in Arlington. So during the funeral, several of his squadron came for the funeral, and they told us stories. Tom never talked about anything when he came back, but they told us a lot of stories about different things that happened. And when his plane was shot up, there was a bullet that actually went right through the window where his head was. And I said, how did it miss him? They said, we have no idea. And so I told him, I said it was the angel on his shoulder. And so, but that's just, he was an amazing person. He graduated from Rose-Hulman. He started his own business. And what he did was he wrote computer programs for paper mills. And he traveled all over the United States installing those programs, and then he serviced them as well. So that was what he did before he got sick. And his wife is still running that business today. So, but anyway, that's a little bit about his life. And he was just amazing. He grew up saying he could do anything. And I mean, he honestly, anything he set his mind to, he succeeded. So he was a wonderful person to look up to. And I miss him.
Thanks for sharing. That's